What? We're doing another video? Right now? I mean, alright, it feels like we just did the last one. I don't know how hard you guys want me to work, but... Okay, ready. You know what? Just play the intro. I'll meet you guys there afterwards. You know, I'm sure I'm gonna look back fondly on that skit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Salty Sense, and thank you for joining me again, unless this is your first time joining me. Well, if that's the case then, what are you doing, man? He's insane! The order goes part 1, followed by part 2. Go watch the first one. Go on, I'll wait. You know what, don't worry about it. I'm happy for you to take an avant-garde approach to video order. Break the rule! Subvert expectation. You do you. Now without further waffling, like and subscribe. Let's continue with my 6 things to know before starting a reef tank. Number 3, reef tanks take work. Do you remember that time that I said that having a reef tank was a bit like having a piece of furniture? Having a reef tank is a lot like having a blend of a pet, a garden, and a piece of furniture all rolled into one. See, I did say that. Remember that I also said this though. At the same time though, it's not exactly like keeping any of these things though. Reef tanks look awesome and they add light, life, colour and movement to any room that they're put in. If you ask me, they're the centerpiece of any room and are the ultimate embellishment you can add to your home. They aren't like your other pieces of furniture though, where once you've paid for them, the hard work's done. Just dust them every so often and you're good to go. Hey Dean, you wanna go watch a movie?
Ooh, I'd love to, but I really gotta polish my table.
Hey bro, you wanna go catch some sick waves?
Polishing the table again.
Again!
Oh, splendid news, Dean. I've just spoken to Reginald regarding tonight's planned box social, and he's assured me that there will be a bevy of buxom bachelorettes in attendance. Would you leave me alone so I can polish my table?
Yes, polish. Reef tanks need ongoing maintenance though, and this takes time. Every day, lights have to be turned on and off, fish have to be fed, and supplements have to be added to the tank. Every couple of days, the glass needs to be cleaned. And then there's more periodic work like water changes and equipment maintenance, which vary from every week to every couple of months. Automation and technology like programmable lights, dosing pumps, and automatic feeders can help take care of some of these tasks, and I strongly suggest that you look into using some of these things. Even something as simple as a standard wall socket timer can make your tank easier to look after by doing things like turning lights on and off for you. The less of a hassle you can make your regular maintenance, the more enjoyable and successful your tank will be. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, you can connect pretty much all the functions in your tank to dedicated aquarium controllers, which will coordinate and direct all the stuff happening in your tank. Want the lights in your tank to simulate a thunderstorm happening in real time over a reef in Hawaii? Easy. Do you want your flow pumps to switch off each time the auto feeder drops food into the tank? Done. Do you want your tank to continually test your water and send you a message on your phone if something goes out of whack? You got it. Even bigger, more complicated jobs like the dreaded water change can be set up to happen at a press of a button, or even at a set time with absolutely no input from you at all. It's Friday today. If I'm not mistaken, I was to perform a water change today. Let's see. It's 6 o'clock now, so that means that it finished 20 minutes ago. Thank goodness that ghastly business is over, now I can go back to work. You don't have to go the full 9 yards when setting up your first tank, but again, I'd at least encourage you to look into anything that can make maintaining your tank easier and simpler for you. If you can reduce your maintenance to something as simple as refilling a few containers every couple of weeks, it's more likely that your maintenance will actually get done and your reef tank will thank you for it and you'll see results. Automation is a whole topic of its own and I plan on covering it more in the future with its own dedicated videos. Chances are if this is your first aquarium though, you won't want to put up the extra money or deal with the added complexity of setting up an automated system like this though. That's entirely reasonable and a very prudent approach to setting up your first tank. All of these things can be added and upgraded later once you get your feet wet and you get a sense of what you are and aren't happy to do manually with your regular maintenance. Number 4. Most marine fish are collected from the wild. This may not be an issue for some people, but for others, it may be a deal breaker. I want you to know exactly what you're getting into though, so that there's no ugly surprises later on once you're already invested. While the vast majority of freshwater ornamental fish are bred and raised in captivity before they enter the pet trade, the opposite is true for saltwater fish. Fish you purchase in this hobby could have come from the Maldives, Fiji, Australia, the Red Sea, or any number of other places in the world. So you start with a wild fish swimming around on a natural reef. No! We are not doing that. Stop it. Edit that out, future Dean. Do you want to get sued by the baby shark people? Because this is how we get sued by the baby shark people. They've got the money for it now. So you start with a wild fish swimming around on a natural reef. They are then caught by a collector and sent to an exporter. They are then housed at the exporter until they are put on a plane and flown around the world to reach an importer in your particular country. They are then housed at the importer until they are bagged up again and sold to retailers. This is how they end up in your local fish store or online catalogue. They are then bagged up again for one final journey to your home aquarium. The length of this supply chain is extremely stressful on fish, and mortality rates are high before they ever reach the store. The fish that do make it are often malnourished, susceptible to disease, or have injured themselves during some point in transit. Practices vary across the industry though, and the best importers will hold their stock, giving them a chance to recover before moving them on to retailers for final sale. While some fisheries around the world are highly regulated, such as Australia's, so that collection remains sustainable without endangering wild populations, others are practically a free-for-all where anything goes. Destructive practices such as cyanide fishing, where toxic solutions are pumped into hiding places to flush out and stun fish, continue to be a persistent problem in these fisheries. Not only does this result in sick fish which inexplicably die after you purchase them, but these practices also do massive collateral damage to the reef and other organisms which live around the fish being collected. Have I made you think reefing's terrible yet? It's not all bad though. There's been a massive push from within the hobby to move towards a more sustainable industry. Incredible things have been accomplished in the world of aquacultured corals just in the past decade, for example. We've gone from a hobby that relied almost exclusively on collection of wild corals, to hobbyists learning to grow and propagate corals in their own tanks. These corals are then sold or traded amongst other hobbyists, which go on to continue the cycle. These practices have now been scaled up to commercial coral farms springing up all around the world, which supply the hobby with incredibly high quality captive grown corals. In the same period, huge advances have been made in the breeding of marine fish in captivity. Fish that have never before been successfully reproduced are now being bred and are making their way to market. The poster child for captive breeding of marine fish has to be the clownfish though. When I first started in this hobby, it was common to have your clownfish come from wild collection. These days though, you'd be hard pressed to find wild collected Ocellaris or Porcula clownfish with any sort of regularity. Breeding of clownfish has become so widespread in fact that we're now getting strains of designer clownfish that are being bred and sold. As technology, methods and our understanding of marine fish improve, we are more and more able to produce healthy, tank-adapted fish that are independent of wild collection. Hobbyists as a whole have proven more than willing to put their hand into their pocket and make it financially viable for companies and institutions to put the research and money into developing captive bred fish. The hope is that one day the hobby will be self-sustaining and mostly independent of wild collection. If these kinds of topics interest you, there are groups like Rising Tide Conservation which you can follow on Facebook to get the latest updates on marine aquaculture. You know, I really thought I'd be able to get through the last 4 points in this second video, but turns out I had a lot more to say than I thought. Oops. Oh well, you know what that means. Next video coming at you soon-ish.